All right. Man, I was thinking, Russell, you and I talked, it was summertime.
Yeah.
I think of 2023.
Yeah.
So not this summer before over there.
Yeah.
Stacy, we've never met, right? But I kind of wanted to dive right in because when I saw you, Russell, by wherever we are, right behind us,
yeah.
You mentioned that your wife's pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are living in a tent.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. What is that like?
It sucks.
It's really shitty. It sucks. It's not fun. Like, I mean, like we do the best we can. Like I mean.
Like all of our stuff's getting moldy because it's winter.
And it's cold. We got it. We were able to, figure some stuff out and get.
We got one of those little heaters, but it costs $8 a can for the green cans, and they only last 2 hours.
Yeah, and then
it's cold again because you have no insulation.
It's getting in the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do everything we can to try to keep each other, spirits up, type stuff. Try to keep things positive, but sometimes it doesn't work. Like a lot of times we probably say things we probably don't mean to each other just because it's really cruddy.
Sure.
We try to be decent people. Try to help and be nice and stuff. But a lot of times, like I told you before, it's just not. It's not reciprocated. But that doesn't mean.
Yeah, especially out here.
Yeah. I mean, on a regular basis, it's more like taking like a weakness than it is anything,
Yeah, well, when we were driving from the Commons, you were mentioning you're just like, man, it's getting bad.
Yeah, because
people are screaming at you from their cars, and we had somebody throwing an apple at us.
And we're not, and we're not like out of pocket with it.
We pick up our garbage.
We pick up our trash around where we stay. We try to make sure that we don't bother the people, in the homes and stuff around us because, we
don't have loud music or anything.
Yeah, we don't make any noise. There's not a bunch of people at our tent. It's just us.
Yeah, I see just one single tent.
Yeah.
On the side there.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, have any neighbors met you or
we have a neighbor across the
hello?
street that will let us throw our trash away in his garbage. And, yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a good man. Him and his wife, they come and check on us as best they can.
Yeah.
But they have life too.
We understand people have lives. People have things they have to deal with. And we're adults. And so it's not like we expect people. We don't expect people to do
anything extra.
But we would like to be treated like people every now and again.
Yeah.
Not everybody's that nice either.
Yeah,
the other neighbor's horrible.
Yeah, the one guy that lives on the corner hates our guts. We don't even know why.
I think he's racist. He's came and said some really fucked up things to Russell, just trying to make it so he can call the cops.
Yeah.
Oh, just trying to stir
He's trying to antagonize.
Yeah.
To antagonize me.
Yeah.
And I tried talking to him as a person, as a man, as a human being. I told him I was just listen.
He's not interested.
Yeah, those are his exact words. He's like I tried to tell him, hey man, we're not, sorry that we're here, but this is the only place we had to go. And nobody, they didn't sweep us and bother us. We try to tell him, we'll try to, mind our manners and give him a break.
Yeah, since day one, he's like, nope, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. You're ruining my view.
Yeah, those are his exact words.
We're ruining his view.
And we don't even really come out of the tent very often,
He just doesn't want to see it.
Yeah, and I can in a way, I even understand that. Nobody wants to see.
People have to go somewhere, though. Yeah. And now it's not, you can't even camp anywhere.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about sweeps a second ago.
Yeah. And
about how they used to give a 3-day notice, 72-hour notice.
Now you get 5 minutes, and if you don't get your crap out, they throw it away.
Yeah.
Well,
are you guys afraid of being swept right there?
No.
Well, we're lucky enough that the lady who actually owns the property said it's okay that we have our tent there.
She's a wonderful person.
Yeah, permission.
Yeah, so we have permission to be on that property.
That doesn't change the fact that whole thing, bro. Running up on people. So it was bad enough to give people 3 days, and then expect somebody that's been somewhere
for even a week, you have, it takes a minute to move your stuff.
Well, I mean,
especially when you don't have a vehicle.
If somebody said to me, "Hey, you got 3
you
days
move
to
your
move,"
whole life,
I'd be like, "I can't do that."
Yeah,
and then 5 minutes is even less realistic.
I mean, like, so.
That's why people don't have anything, is because it all gets thrown away.
Yeah.
I mean.
And they don't put anything in storage. They're full of crap. I've never seen them put a thing in storage.
I mean, in my honest opinion, it's more like there's people vested. It's really screwed up that you let a person get vested in an area, vested in a space where you let them think that they're okay because they find themselves out of the way. Because a lot of us do that. We find that we're not like in their yards, on their street corners like some people, and we try to find a way to tuck ourselves off so that we're not in their common sight. But they
still search you out and move you just to move you.
Yeah, and that's some of the weirdest thing. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. As like, so you don't want to see me, so I hide myself. So now because I hide myself, now you come look for me, so that you can make my life even more miserable than it already is.
Yeah, I think there's this like out of sight, out of mind perspective.
Yeah,
like
but
if somehow people think if I don't see
you, then it doesn't exist.
And then it doesn't exist, which is
so
kind of childish, right? It's just kind of like.
But how is that? But I gotta ask is how is that a perspective? If it's out of sight, out of mind, and then you walk 2 blocks down the street where I'm at, hidden, to come find me. That to me doesn't seem like it's out of sight of mind. It's out of sight until I decide I want to come screw with you.
Right, and move you, and
like just and
make things difficult.
I understand that if you dishevel a person and you keep them from having any actual ground, anywhere to stand firmly, it keeps them from being able to like gather up, amass each other, or like whatever your vested interest may be to keep them from doing. But there comes a point where you gotta just say, okay, I have other things to do in my life. Why am I harassing another human being? I mean, that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, a gentleman said something like, the way people treat unhoused people, they must really hate themselves and not dislike themselves in order to do something to somebody else like that.
Exactly.
So it's like an internal
conflict that is being taken out in a group of people.
It's an internal conflict that's being redirected and made external.
Right.
On purpose. And
and it doesn't have any positive effect for either person.
My father once said that, like, you could pile the money up in front of a person and give it to them. If that person's shitty on the inside, they're still shitty on the inside.
Money doesn't make people better.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't make you any better or any worse. You're still the same person. You just have money now.
It actually, in my opinion, it actually corrupts people.
It can make a lot of people terrible.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's get back.
Yes,
so
I'm sorry.
No. We're just as an open conversation, but being pregnant, unhoused, it's like.
And we've asked for help, but.
Tell me more about that.
They never came back.
We've talked to several.
We've talked to 3 or 4 different people from outreach, and they don't come back.
Like
they
help,
said we
were
supposed to be put on the list for housing, and nobody ever got back to us.
We never heard anything.
They know where we're at. We haven't moved in months.
We don't
because we're on private property, and we can't have babies in a tent. That's insane.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, that kind of people are gonna think like, how are you gonna do this? What is that gonna look like? Is there like, from my experience with my children, there was like, I was very privileged enough to go to like prenatal care. My ex-partner, did that and stuff. It's like, is that an option for you, Stacy?
Well, they have Apple Care for people, but that still doesn't help us if we are in a tent.
Right.
We need to be housed in order to be able to have kids. It's just a kind of a fact.
I'm doing everything I can to try to make sure it's right.
But if nobody ever gets back to us, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
We obviously can't afford. So the cost of living here is insane. Most people that work can't afford that.
I'm considered, like by rights, I'm considered like more or less. I'm considered. I have multiple sclerosis.
He's disabled, and he doesn't even get money for being disabled.
I've applied for it, and they just kind of laugh, I guess. Whatever. I was like, but I'm still
Well, because it takes doctor's appointments and it takes things that we don't have when we're just trying to get through each day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you got to go to a doctor's appointment. How do
You
you
got to
get
be able
there?
to make that appointment. You got to have a phone that works. You got to.
There's just things that we don't
we don't have access to.
We try to get it, but it never works.
Yeah.
Well, because you need money to do that.
So you guys have been at that spot for
Months.
About 4 months, maybe.
4.5 months.
Okay, gotcha. And so, is there like a due date? A due month?
Probably a couple months.
About
Two and a half months.
Yeah. So it's going to come down the wire.
We're pretty much down to the wire. Yeah.
Tell me more about what do you guys? Well, I'm afraid, so I feel like oh shit. Tell me about some of your feelings around that.
Stressed.
Very. It's like it's unnerving. It unravels us like on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Like we rewind ourselves like pretty well sometimes, but it tears us down on a regular basis because I say things to her, she says things to me. Like we may or may not mean, but it's the situational stress that like tears us down.
Your nervous system. You're in survival mode, fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
Like every day. And of course, that's gonna
causes clashes. Lots of them.
Yeah, that's really hard. Stacy, tell me more about. Let's see. Well, Russ, we talked. You've been, I think, if I remember, unhoused for like a couple decades, like 20 years.
Like 2 decades, 2.5 decades.
On and off. Yeah. Stacy, real quick, like. Tell me about yourself.
I'm about the same.
Yeah.
Yep. On and off for that's just 15, 20 years.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What do you guys want?
When I get into housing, and so we can take care of our
the children.
kids. Yeah.
We've talked about this before between each other, and I've talked about it to you before, and then we talked about it to other people. It's funny how they give it to those that
don't want it almost, or not going to use it,
to screw it off,
or they're going to use it as storage.
Yeah.
But the people that actually need it,
they don't give anything.
No.
They almost forget us.
It almost feels on purpose.
It seems like that. From my experience, it is a complicated, messy, situation. I'll say quote unquote system.
They pick and choose who they want to house.
Right, and it's like you never know who
it's going to be.
And so there's
been people that have gotten housing 3 or 4 times and been kicked out 3 or 4 times since we were at Fred Meyer like 5 months ago, behind Fred Meyer.
And we haven't seen
and we haven't seen anybody.
Not even one. Yeah.
Since the beginning of summer was the last time we saw anybody from outreach, and they know we're there.
Well, I think what was back to the sweeps when they gave a 3-day notice.
Yeah.
Like teams, like the Hope team or Reach team.
We got swept 4 or 5 times, and they didn't offer us anything
at all.
Yeah, and then
they did the next time they were swept when we weren't there.
Well, Russell, I saw you at the Commons today. Tell me about the Commons. Did you guys?
That's the first time I've gone back to the Commons since a long time. Like it was just something that I kind of was like
trying to get a phone so we could get.
So we have ways to get in contact with people and keep things.
Try to get something moving.
And like it was just an opportunity I thought I'd take. The people at the Commons are really good people. They really try to help. When they can, they do the best they can.
There's a lot of people though.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. And so, we can't really neither of us expects anything like people to do anything extraordinary
that they aren't doing for everybody else.
Yeah, that's all. But then again, like I said before, we understand that obviously things are different for everybody else than they are for us or something. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm not trying to point fingers or say anything, but I do notice that it's strange. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah. From my experience, like shelters, there's spots that open, they close. You got to call every day.
They're male and female too, so you can't even stay together.
And and if you guys,
and that's kind of important to us.
Tiny homes don't accept couples.
Yeah.
Some do.
Some are just female. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And a lot of times when they offer that, they don't offer it to couples, or they only offer it to females, or they only offer it to males. So it depends what they're offering when they do the sweeps, to if it's even something that you'll qualify for.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want to be separated.
No.
That's not an option.
No.
Right?
No.
Of course not. Well, my hope is someone will see this and say, hey, let's get them inside as soon as we can.
Right.
Because it's like, obviously to have a baby in a tent's not
it's not feasible.
Yeah, it's like you want to be inside and etc.
Just to have power would be nice.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And not be cold.
Like we've been dealing with the weather and the cold stuff but like I said, better part of 15, 20 years.
Even when you have a phone, it's impossible to keep the thing charged when you don't have power.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can have a phone with even service, and it still is kind of useless to you if you don't have any way to charge it.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, tell me more. Some of the other challenges.
I mean, there's lots of challenges.
The weather.
the weather, the cold. The temperature.
The little bit that you do have, everything molds.
Well, and even.
And molds not healthy to be around.
Before we left, you said, "Hey, should I get my purse?" And I'm thinking,
well, because people are constantly breaking into our stuff and stealing it.
Right.
Because there's no way to secure it.
Yeah, you can't lock your door, right?
There's no door to lock.
Like even right now, it's like there's a possibility
that somebody's going through our, the little bit that we do have.
Yeah.
And so if we were to get anything to try to set ourselves up, it's gone the next day because somebody comes and takes it
from us. Yeah.
Because there's no way to keep people out, and we can't just sit there and guard stuff.
Yeah,
we have to go try to do stuff, otherwise we won't survive.
Right.
We need food and water and sleep just like everybody else.
Right. And when you do that stuff, you gotta go. Away from the tent.
Right. Exactly.
It's an ongoing battle, uphill battle. It's like it doesn't really ever.
It makes it hard to do the things that we need to do when we have to deal with just the day-to-day crap.
Yeah.
Well, Stacy, a question I'd like to, before we wrap up, is there anything that you would want the people of Seattle to know?
That we're people just trying to survive. Don't throw stuff at us.
Please. Sorry. It's all right, baby. It's all right. It's all right. Don't cry. Don't cry. It's all right. Nobody ever remembers that, even if we're homeless, we were people too before we lost everything, It happens. Come here. It's okay. Hey, look at me. It's okay. Okay. We're gonna figure it out regardless, right?
Thanks for sharing, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.